Right, so we're going to be doing the reverse linked list problem. This is a super common problem. You see it all the time. Um, this is basically the the number one problem when it comes to linked list, right? Um, and what happens is you're given a function. Within that function, you're given a head, and in that head, there's a node after it. So, for instance, let's say you're given a head and it's 1, right? Head.next equals 2 and 3, 4, 5, just like in this example, right? Below there is basically output that we want to reach, which is just the reverse of what we're given. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? In order to do this, what we're going to need to do um, is first create a dummy variable, right? So current equals head. And then we're going to want to basically set a variable for previous, right? And you're going to see why in a second. So obviously when we're doing linked lists, we're going to have to do a while loop, right? This is what we tend to do. While current, right, meaning that there's still nodes to be iterated through, right? We are going to set a variable equal to current.next, right? The reason why is because we are basically shifting everything, so we need every single variable, like everything that you can get. So you need to know what the next value is. We need to set the next value. You need to set current, previous, and so on, right? So once you set a variable for next, then what you're going to do is um, set current.next equal to none, right? So, or not none, I'm so sorry, next to previous, right? Then we're going to set previous equal to current, and then current equal to next, right? And then what we will do is return previous, right? This will be the new head of our reverse linked list, right? So I'm going to go show you how this is going to look in a whiteboard. So you have current, which equals our head, right? Previous equals none. And while current, next is going to equal current.next. So we're going to have this here, right? So this is the first iteration of our while loop, right? Next equals current.next. So next is here at 4. Current.next equals previous, right? So what this means um, is that instead of having the next, there's not really a variable to hold this, but what it's basically saying is, okay, so current.next, remember current is this, like it's 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Usually the dot next would be 4, but because we're setting it equal to none, right, or more particular previous, instead of having it this arrow pointing to the right, we're pointing it to previous, to the left, right? So you already kind of see how we're reversing. And then we're setting previous equal to current, right? So previous right here is equal to current. So we're moving previous, right? And current equals next. So now we're moving current, right? And then we go back, right? And remember, next equals current.next. So next moves, right? And we just continue the loop. So current.next equals previous, right? So current.next equals previous. In this instance, instead of current.next, which would have been 4, which would basically is like what's after 4, which is 3. Instead of it being 3, it equals 1 now, right? So let's remove this so it's a little bit more easier to read. So this is 4. The next to this is 4, right? Or actually, no. The next to this is 1. And you have previous equals current, right? So previous equals current, current equals next, right? And then it basically goes on and on and on until we basically have the reverse of this, which is 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we need to create a function to print print list, right? And we will just call this reverse underscore head, right? And then we will just make this current 2 equals reverse underscore head, while current 2, we also want to do answer equals this. While current 2, we're going to do answer dot append current 2 dot value, and then current 2 equals current 2 dot next, right? Return answer. And then if I was to do this, which is basically just initiating this function, putting in node 1, and the test2 equals print underscore list, passed in test, and then print test2. If I run this, let's see. Because I misspelled this. There you go. Perfect. So we were able to return the reverse linked list. The initial values were 1, 4, 3, 2, 5, 2, and now we have 2, 5, 2, 3, 4, 1. Perfect. So the code works, right? This is just to print the list. We store it inside an array, right? We just create a dummy variable. We just do a simple while loop. We append the current to the answer each iteration, and then set it current to its next value, right? And this is just the print. The print is nothing too crazy. The reverse, just a quick recap, we pass in a head. We set in a variable, a dummy variable for that head, and create a variable called previous and set it equal to none, right? Every iteration, previous and current, do change. And in order to do reversed linked list, you have to practically create 3 variables. One variable equal to current.next, current, which just equals the head that you're given, and previous, which is originally set equal to none, but changes over time and gets set equal to current because we're moving, right? And we want to make sure that it follows along.